we're running late today, so he's gonna just blow through as best he can. Okay.
We'll get through this.
We'll get through it, because Brent's a
Monday.
genius.
Yeah, well.
Maybe the wrong one.
Yeah, right.
Similar to what, pretty close to what.
Well, I mean, what we're gonna talk about today, you guys have been struggling. Right? This is really, I mean, this is the first part of the, you know, the business model canvas. You guys have this thing, you started to fill this out, right? And what we're really starting to look at now is what you call product market fit. This right here, this product market fit. You have your customer and your value proposition, right? And it's understanding what that value proposition is. What's a quick definition of a value proposition?
What you're offering?
What you're offering, okay?
What problem you solve?
What problem you solve,
How you differ.
how you differ.
Customer back.
Yeah, why does the customer care? That's the value proposition. Why do they care? Right, so when you think about, you know, your product, I mean, there's a lot of things out there, but fundamentally it's, why does the customer care? Right, and that's why you have to go out and talk to the customers to find out what they care about. Now, there's a couple of things that we're gonna look at. Well, I think I have a hand up. Did you hand those out already, or?
I'm sorry.
I don't know where they go. Oh, here they are. Right
Is
with
that what, underneath my phone, right?
your phone and everything. So there's a tool that Oscar Wilder has come up with, because this is so fundamental for us to understand, because it's critical, is this product market fit. We need to understand the customer and their issues, and then what we offer, and make sure that they fit. What happens oftentimes is that we get caught up on our solution. Right? And I don't see that too bad in this. I mean, I've worked with, when we did some of the programs, somebody comes in with a technology. Now think about, here's a scientist who's been developing this technology for years. And she or he have this product. Here's my solution to the problem I think people have. Okay. Then it's like, wow, did you talk to any of them? No, but I am an expert in that field. I worked in that field for 20 years. I understand it. So now I have a solution I have to go find a problem for. And that's a lot harder than finding a problem and creating a solution for it. So, Ayush, when you're talking to them, right, you're listening to what are the problems they're talking about. Don't be so tied to your solution that you miss what somebody says is, oh, this is a huge problem. I mean, I need a summary of my patient quicker, right? If you hear the doctor say that over and over and over again, right, go, hello, okay, let me not get tied to the whole customer carrying around the card thing, but let me say, maybe I need to figure out how to provide that, right? So maybe it's the standardized form that you fill out at every place that says, here's what I'm allergic to, here's what's not, and you give it to that and they create that picture quicker, right? But it's that listening to the customer to understand what the value proposition is. And it's really simple. What are some, I mean, when you have this, the really successful companies have a pretty simple value proposition. What is a really successful company when you think about really successful companies?
Make a lot of money.
So again?
Make a lot of money.
Okay, name a big successful company though.
Google.
Apple, Google,
Microsoft.
Microsoft. What is Apple's value proposition?
They can save the lights over and over again, but sell a higher price.
You know what it's funny is they have changed the way we think about, let's just take cell phones. They have changed the phone from being a want to being a need. I need this new phone, and every 2 years, I'm more than willing to give you the old one and get the new one.
I think largely Apple's value proposition lies within the fact that you can pick up any Apple device and operate it. It doesn't, whether it's an iPad, a Mac, an iPhone.
It's a simple
it's
interface.
It's all
Yeah.
simple.
Very simple interface.
Right, it's simple
You
interface.
open the new package for
Design
iPhone
well.
7, you're not gonna read the instruction manual on how to use it. You already know how to use it.
Right.
But that took some time, because I remember when the iPods, that was like the first, you had to figure out how to put your music on. So I'm just saying, like, now it's normal, but there was a time when that wasn't.
So they created a new
It
one.
used to be that Apple only had 1% of the market, right? They still have a small share, but it's grown huge and significant in other areas. But they have well-designed products that are easy to use. Right? They're beautiful to look at, and they understand, and this is that Simon Sinek video. Have you guys watched, any of you watched the Simon Sinek video called The Golden Circles? He talks about it, so write it down. Sinek is S-E-N-E-K. It is a TED Talk, right? And he talks about the mind and how we think and what Apple does, right? People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And if you can get a value proposition where people believe what you believe, right? You don't sell 3D or augmented reality, right? You help my wife see what her house is gonna look like, right? When you sell that sort of, you know, what you believe in a better way of building a home or remodeling a home, you believe in saving people's lives, right? When you get into that sort of fundamental, people believe in what you believe in. That's why people gladly pay, you know, they're waiting in line for the iPhone 7, right? And they're sold out, they're selling them because of that value proposition. Walmart, what's their value proposition?
Everyday low prices.
Everyday low prices, right? What did you say?
Cheap. Everything is way cheaper than the membership.
Everyday low prices, right? It's simple, it's clear, and they do it over and over again. Now, you can argue a lot of issues around them, but their value proposition means a lot to a lot of people. They get it, they keep it simple, right? It's hard, if you have a complex value proposition, or you have a lot of value propositions, it's so much more difficult to communicate it. And we're gonna do an exercise where we talk about a lot of different things, but what you wanna hone that down to is you talk to enough customers to find out what the number one issue is. Okay, so let me click on here. So let's keep moving on. All right, it all starts with the job to be done. That's what the customer is all about. What is the job? If I had the sound working, it used to say, done. Right? You want that customer's job to be done. Because what happens is, my solution helps this customer segment solve this job, this pain, this need, or this savings gainer. What happened to my one? I lost her. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I missed this one. So the value proposition canvas, which we have to hand out here, or you have one already, looks like this. And it essentially fits in this part, right, it's the job to begin, what gains do the customer, what can they see, or what pains do they have? So what are gains are important? How can they do this? And this gets really specific. I want you, when you look at the job to be done, it isn't just, you don't want to just think about the straightforward sort of functional job. Because there is that, what is that functional job that the customer needs to be done? But you can also get into what is the social or emotional job? Right? What is that basic need that customer's trying to solve? I heard it from my wife the other day, and come back to you, because we're building a house right now, right? And there was this issue in the kitchen about whether, and I still can't hardly say the damn word, excuse me, sorry. Soffit. There's supposed to be, there was in the design, the interior designer and the contractor built a soffit in a space like this in the kitchen. But then, when the framers put it in, they didn't put it in. And there was this whole big, does it go in, does it go in, does it go in, no it does, yes it does. She went back, and my wife's comment was, I just can't envision what it's gonna look like there. Or if it's not there, what does the tile background look like? I just can't envision it, I don't care. I mean, this was getting to the point where she would have paid $1,000 to solve this problem. Because she was so, she was angry and frustrated, and your target market's right on. She drives the decision. I came in when the builders started to get, when there was problems. And I said, okay, this is how we're gonna fix this. But, because then it got into, a change order and another $400 to put the soffit in now because you did approve it or you didn't, there's a whole thing. But if she could have just seen it in a clear way, not a little pencil drawing, it would have solved it. And it was a huge pain for her at that point.
Did they offer her just a drawing? Is that what they said? It looks like this, and they didn't try to show anything?
Yeah, that was it. And we don't have much time.
Yeah.
There's not much time to it. So timing was an issue, right? Because the electricians were done and, they need to, they're moving on, right? Because the contractor's got a schedule and they've got, subcontractors scheduled and, it was like, holy smokes. Question?
I was just gonna say, I'm just trying to think of what you're thinking of, with emotional or social job to be done. So I'm thinking of Caitlin actually. So would it be the functional job is that I have to wear clothes, because society says you can't be it. But then the social job to be done is, I also wanna be trendy. I don't wanna look like I dress less than free.
What's our favorite word?
But it's also the emotional job.
The emotional job is, I also want to look good in what I wear, and I want what I wear to display my own personal vibe for environmental reasons.
Well, there's the emotional side of that is, I think where it can come in is the desire to change the world, that emotion that I want to make the world a little better, safer for my kids. See, the whole reason my wife went to organic and healthier foods was that she saw her children and the impact of what, unhealthy pesticides and, cattle, the antibiotics and what that was doing. And so that shifted her thinking. When it was just us and single, we never thought about any of that stuff. Right, she grew up as a rancher's daughter. It was just the way things were done. But when it became emotional with her children, that's that emotional job to do. Right, and so right now, I don't know that people think in terms of sustainability in clothing. Right, why is that, organic material, what does that do? right? There's not, everybody's not there yet, so you're ahead of the curve. But you gotta find the people that have that emotional, you know, or social job to be done. Right, and then on your side, oops, it's okay. That's okay. Oh, you got it back. I was like, oh, it changed, I wasn't there. On this side then, products and services, right? Real quick, real specific, you know, when you're looking at with your product, it's not only the software, right? It's pre-sales, right? Do you offer support? Do you offer training, right? Do you walk customers through? Do you provide them that level of service, right? And this is where products, and even if you have a product, it's not all product, right? Because it could be a hybrid, where it's product and service. Restaurants serve food, but they also have a big service component. And so it's the pre-sale sort of items before the sales. You know, what do you provide? And then the same thing with, right, the moving, what's the post-sales? Or, you know, what post-move, what do you provide? Do you pick up the boxes? Do you know, what do you do before and what do you do after the sale? That's all a part of the sale. Right, and do you help the customer pre-sale find a truck? Right? Do you help the customer pre-sale find boxes? You know, post-sale, what do they do with the old boxes? Do you do those things or do you just not, right? I mean, you have to be really clear about that part of your product is on that product side. Right? And then those are, what are the game creators that match up to what they want? Right? So in yours, a game creator, for me, moving with, is cost. Right? So cost could be I mean, that might be a pain, but that would be putting more money in my pocket. Right? So that may be that relationship. But there's other things too, right? There's other pains that I have when I move. You know, how do I, you know, when I think about moving, it's scheduling. You know, sometimes it's like, how do I schedule? I gotta, you know, I'm 2 weeks out for the move. How do we schedule those things? That might be a pain. Right? So as we go through this, when you're looking at and so what I have today, one of the things that I want to work a little bit on is I have big versions of these for each of your teams. And we've got a bunch of sticky notes. Because these things will change as you go forward. But I want you guys to get really clear on your customers' pains and gains. And one of the things that we want you to do is you're going to rank those. You need to know their number one pain. You need to know their number one gain. What's the most important to them? And now, in terms of what's that job to be done for the user, and you're still struggling with the customer, you're looking at maybe new customers, you know your customer, you think, right? And that's, you know, what do they want? What gain are they gonna get, or what pain? I can tell you, gains are not as strong as pains. If I have something causing me pain, I'm much more likely to react quicker than an extra gain, right? And remember, talk to several folks when they talk about gains. If I need to save money 10 times in order for me to move, right? So let me think through. So I have let's say I'm getting my oil changed, right? That's yours, right? Changing services. I have a system in place. I need a huge gain for me to want to shift. Because I'm entrenched with this company, I know what it is, I'm happy with the way it is. So if you can save me 5%, I may not really care. But I've heard a lot of people, they always use this factor of 10. That if you can save me 10 times something, then I move. Now, I think it's always a little extreme if if you're if it's $1 billion project and I'm gonna save you 10 billion, I mean 100 million. But the point is that those gains need to be significant in order for people to shift their behavior. Right? Because even if there isn't if it isn't a specific solution out there, people are doing things now. With each of right now, there's a way for that they're trying to sterilize stuff. It doesn't work as well, but it's working, right? They're using it.
Yeah, they're
Right.
using it.
They're using it. To get somebody to shift, you have to show a significant improvement.
Yeah.
Right? Not just a little bit, but a significant one. Because then they're gonna go, you'll get their attention. But when you're starting out, if you're brand new, if you're gonna save a used car dealership $50 on a car, they're gonna go, well, we're pretty happy with the way it is. Save me 500, maybe we'll start to talk. Increase my sales, close rate 10%, go from 19 to 25, then they're all over it, right? So it's that, you gotta make that significant change before they respond. Okay, let's see where I'm at here. Okay. All right, and so this slide is out there on the internet. I'm not gonna read through it for you here, but this gives you lists of ways of thinking about it. It's easier to find it on the internet and look at it than it is to talk about it in great detail. But it's really helping you ask the right questions for what is that product? What are your gain creators? Is it an emotional gain? Is it being very specific about what exactly those gains are? Because once you start to jot those down and you're looking and you're talking to the doctor, so I think the biggest pain you have, from what I've heard other doctors say, is this: is that true? You start to be able to see and put those things in order. Does that make sense? Right? So I think what I want to do now is take a few minutes and let them start to work out on this and work through it. So I don't know if we really the team project is going to be kind of dual, so we won't have the one time at the end. There you go. Couple of different colors.
Thank you.
We're saving 60%.
Sorry.
Which I mean, that's kind of valid.
All of them now, sorry. There we go. I need to get you started.
Writing utensil.
Get a little work done. Well, it's just opposite ends.
Yeah, me too.
So guys, Mark's gonna find this slide real quick and throw it up on the Google Drive so that you guys can see these questions.
Okay.
And then of course, all of Mark's slides are gonna be on the Google Drive, but Mark's just gonna find this slide real quick.
Yeah, they're really just slides straight from the Lean Startup.
I can't even read that.
It's really hard to, there's so hard, I even went to Oscar Wilder's site, and they're just hard to read in great detail.
Like some of it.
It's easier on the monitor.
You know, we asked people
Yeah.
if there's
It's just sort of
some
fun.
people
Some
exit.
will exit.
Ours. Right, so I don't know, but I'm like, this could be all about the pain. I guess a painting would be going in the honest.
Are you a customer?
Right, that is.
I don't think I'm reading my first. I think it's all should be customer I like your idea. When do you need help?
Was that it, what's the class?
Getting this.
It's good, right? We
got
definitely
some big
posted
bells
the,
about these
to see, because it is sometimes.
New startup idea,
I thought it was
selling
just watch the
giant
first
bells
half
for
of it.
people to put in
Looks like it's
the
catching on.
because it looks like a fad.
Catching on.
Yeah.
Are we writing the pain, are we writing it as in this is the pain they're feeling?
Yeah,
or
this
it-
is the job they need done, and there's the pain.
Okay.
What is the pain that it's causing?
So like, for example, customers want game reviews, but
So-
the pain that they're feeling is
Yeah,
that
but
the
it
game
helped
reviews
if I
are
read
not.
Honest,
through these
yeah,
comparing while Mark's
see,
writing
I
them.
really thought that was
Yeah,
really an
alright.
interesting
Oh, so that's
place to
Under
explore.
customer jobs,
Yeah.
People
what
were
functional
unhappy
jobs
with
are
their
you
reviews.
helping your
Yeah.
customer get
Because
done?
that's not a pain I personally feel.
Right.
So it's just what Bert just said, what are the functional jobs?
Okay.
Gotcha.
What
If
are
you
the
struggle, you
social
can actually go
jobs?
up there and kind of read those, right?
Well, I just Googled the name of this and I found some too.
Yeah,
so.
okay.
Emotional, what are,
I know,
what
I mean,
basic
maybe
needs are you helping your customers satisfy? Those are the 4 questions under the customer jobs to be done.
I think that was the original. What it does. Yeah, yeah, that actually,
Well, I'll say, general one is like customer
yeah,
support.
it's the one I actually read, it's really good, we put in, they actually list. So there's the.
Oh, these are the questions.
4 questions, so they put it in the context of the article. So that was, that's why that was.
That's probably better than trying to find the image. Actually,
Yeah, like-
go ahead and put it on the Google Drive. That's exactly the article.
That's the worst reading. Fix it for you.
Oh, okay. Oh, nice.
Well,
Okay.
you know,
Oh, great. Thank you.
big pain
Oh,
is-
that's great. Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool. I'll tell me.
That's kind of like.
All right, I'm gonna stop over here. We'll start going around. How's it going?
Not bad, not
All right,
bad.
what do you got so far?
So, as far as jobs, number 1 is, of course, to schedule a test drive appointments. That's like the first step in the buying process. That'll happen before anything. So that's what they're really trying to accomplish here. They're also trying to build trust and relationships with the customers. They mentioned that's kind of why people like dealerships is telling about the car. And they also said that's build a personal relationship with the customer. They said that they like people come to dealerships because they like human interaction. It's like the feedback I got from the dealers.
So could you do, just a thought, could you do a 3D test drive?
That's not something I've really thought about before because it's like, I don't know how, like, I feel like the test drive is like, you have to feel the car.
But those 3D, the 3D reality of it.
Either one.
So you'd say like the dealer would sit in the car and have the 3D camera with them and the person would
No, you just develop so you develop 3D test drives of different cars. So you know, one of the challenges is, you know, what you're saying is the trouble is getting the online salesperson into the dealership.
Getting the online.
The online purchaser to the dealership, right? And the reason I go online and do those things is because I don't want to be sold. I want to gather as much information as I can before I go in, right?
Yeah.
So what information can you provide that person to help them feel more trusted, right? Because I don't trust the car dealerships. That's the problem.
That's what everyone on the phone says when they called me on Craigslist.
Yeah, I don't trust it. So, how can you help the dealerships build trust? And maybe you have to research, how do you build trust? You know, and maybe it's more of the virtual tour of the dealership. And so meet your salesperson. So maybe it's more of a virtual video of, hey, I'm David Johnson, I'm the online sales expert at so-and-so's at our dealership. Here, this is what we believe in, this is what I believe in. Here are the cars that we have for sale, and then you list them. Somehow create that. I don't know, was Russ talking about a company that was trying to get them to use FaceTime for themselves?
So that company he had mentioned they're using Google Glass. So they give them a Google Glass. The customer calls in, and it's kind of like a live sale. It's basically using what Wispy's doing right here, one-to-one video chat to do sales, but with the Google Glass, which I feel like is much technology in that situation.
If I have Google Glass, but if I don't have the Google Glass.
Right, I'd be like for the salesperson, and then I think it seems like you were watching the screen based off the website. It was kind of hard to tell. That's what they're going after. But you're saying the problem is not that people don't want to come to the dealership, but that they don't want to come to the dealership when they have a lot more information. How do you get them that information?
I mean, you got to talk to those customers. Why aren't they going there? Because I don't want to be sold yet. Because I don't trust them.
I mean, like 98% of people before they walk on dealership know what the car they want to see.
Because they really, I mean, it's a trust issue with dealerships. It's the whole no barter, that whole sort of thing. So how do you, maybe it's a play to help dealers build trust.
What kinds of questions should I be asking car buyers? Do you think these run out? Like, why don't you trust a car dealer? Is it like?
Well, I would say, what are your issues, or where do you plan to buy a car? What are your concerns? Buying a car, how do you, how could you make it easier to buy a used car? I mean, it's a time-consuming process. Does it need to be? I don't know. I mean, what kind of information? So much of it revolves around price, at least when I've purchased it. How do I know what the price should be?
Using the tools like Blue Book and all that, right?
Yeah.
MSRP ratings.
How do I figure the price? That's the pain for my buyers. So it just depends on who your customer's going to be, right? So if it's the dealer, right? So you can look and say, okay, so what tools can I provide to help have a higher conversion rate? So why are the customers not buying online? What happens to them? Is it easier for them? Is it easier for them to go to another lot? Because they just go online, I just change the website and go somewhere else. So maybe it's what's the buyer decision making process of an online purchase? And it's understanding how people buy cars online better. So that car dealers can understand that better and change the way, you know. You know, it makes me think a little bit about like direct marketing.
That's a job.
Direct marketing would send out 1 million letters in its day, right? I mean, that's how people buy. And they would send out, they might change the font in the headline to see if it has a higher close rate. And if it's 0.1% higher, they're gonna change them all to that other font. Right? And so what sort of analytics? I mean, is it back to the 3D? Is it, you know, are you tied to the 3D for, you know, the car dealership thing? I mean, I think, you know, 3D is gonna be huge. Seeing ads on TV for it, you know, so, you know, I mean, so it's not a bad thing, but, or is it the dealer, is it the car experience? Is it buying and selling cars? How can you make it better?
Right.
You know, so
That's what I
look at the analytics of how people look at, because you know they have the tracking, the data that can see where people look. You know, maybe they need a better design. You know, if people look primarily on this side over here, look at how car dealerships design their sites. You know, where are the cars? Where's the information? Maybe they're just fundamentally doing bad design. You know, and so maybe if they improve their web page design, they'd have a higher close rate.
So it would be, what are you talking more like a platform like dealer.com where they give you the website,
Well,
that kind of thing?
yeah, I mean, do most dealers, I mean, do they go to cars.com and dealers just post their car on there? You know, I mean, I've never bought a car online. I mean, I always just go to the dealerships.
Why do you do that?
Because I like to barter. And I want to see the car, and I like to support local. Like Markley's. We bought the car at Markley's for, I think my wife is on her 4th car there.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Right, so there's that sort of thing. But that's, you know, I would do research on cars online. But when I go to buy, I find the car I want, then I just start to look around at all the different dealerships to see where can I get the good.
Usually, do you follow? I've seen research that said, well, I should say, what do you like starting online at like the OEM or at the manufacturer and like, hey, I like this brand, and you go from there. Or how do you like to start your search? Just cars.com.
So I bought my first new car 5 years ago. And what I did first was go around and look at all the cars to see which ones I liked, because I'm not a small guy. You know, I mean, I actually find height is harder to fit in than girth. My head is in the ceiling with most cars, right? So I'm trying to find a car where I fit. I'm not like, feeling like I need to stretch. And then once I found a couple of those, then I went and started to research. But see, for me, it was all about, do I fit in the car? How do I feel when I sit in the car?
Okay.
So that was where I started. So I went to the different dealerships and I just said, hey, show me all the cars you have. I want to sit in it and see how it feels to drive. So I was looking for a feel. But that also fits my personality. Because I'm an NF. Right, so I'm all about feel.
What's an F?
Myers-Briggs type. So Myers-Briggs is ENTJ, INFJ, the different personality types.
Isn't that just something I have tool for customer segmentation?
Well,
just something to help segment.
yeah, I mean, it's you use it for a lot of different things. But it might be, you know, understanding people's personalities might actually help close rates. Train the salespeople in personality, how to recognize people that think versus feel. So somebody that's high in T, they want to see numbers. Somebody that's high in F, they want to sit in the car. Engineer T is going to look at, you know, stats and views and that sort of stuff. I'm going to go sit in the car and drive around.
So you're shooting off in a
Totally different.
totally different direction, but it would be like, yeah, you ask you kind of like some, I don't know if you heard some like jobsology and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You'd ask you like say questions, then you'd say, oh, you're this person, here's some information about this car. It'll like, it would appeal to you.
Yeah.
In this way. It's interesting.
Anyway, I'm
And
gonna
so,
keep moving.
oh yeah.
We got look at you guys are going to town. Excellent. How's it going? I mean, really working on this side will help you. So what have you found so far? What do you think? You have a break?
Not really.
Okay.
I'm kind of going. We started off with the that's I think all that's jobs. Oh, that's not jobs. Huh?
Oh, you're right.
Go back.
So not only do we pay,
Now, is it when you say want a human rule, when you want a human connection, is it to other gamers or is it to, how do you, have you defined that connection? I mean, because, so, the game I play, I actually enjoy the fact that it's a large scale. Yep. Right, and so I literally have people in my alliance that are all over the world, from Russia to Canada to everywhere. And I really, that's the really, I really get into that and that human interaction. Right, I don't necessarily care about who built it, but that interaction is really cool. And we actually go out on the line to continue to build that interaction.
Right, and I think we're trying to do that a little bit, because it's definitely not where people like exclude. Like a lot of them are people to like engage with about.
Well,
And like we go on forums and talk about things.
yeah, that's it. I mean, I go to the websites for how to play the game better. I'm looking for hacks. I'm looking for, recipes. I'm looking for advice, right? And for me, I find that it's all over the place, right?
Like if it's an unfortunate event.
Good source, right? It's like, because I realize it's a blog and it's this person, what is that?
writers are used for whatever reason, like they
Just,
don't trust
I think they're just somebody, they're just somebody that starts to write it out, right? They're not, they play a game a lot, they start, anybody can put up a blog. So maybe you create a publication where you publish noted experts. So, now, if so there was this one guy that ruled their kingdom for, 6 weeks or something, right? And then, so